ルフィ、私はあなたの決定に従うけど、海賊の同盟には裏切りがつきものよ。人を信じすぎるあなたには不向きかもしれない。
え、お前裏切んのか？
いや。やろな！ちった疑え。
Hello everyone, back here with part 2 of my OP12 set review, this time going over purple, black, and yellow. But let's just jump into it. We start off here with our purple cards, starting with our first leader here. We have Rosinante. He's a 5,000 power, 4 life leader with purple and yellow with once per turn. If your Trafalgar Law would be KO'd, you may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand instead. Very thematic with Rosinante giving his life to protect Law. He also then has activate main once per turn, Dawn -1. The next time you would play a Trafalgar Law card with a cost of 4 or more from your hand during this turn, the cost will be reduced by 2. So very early on, being able to play out some overcosted laws will be an interesting way of doing it, and then you can protect them to make sure you're not losing out on your investment there. So I think this will be a real interesting leader as well. I was very close to playing this one, especially because I have a soft spot for Law, but I think the gameplay on Sanji may have just edged him out. Moving on to the alt art here. This one's pretty good. Again, though, with the kind of reoccurring theme with this style, I wish that there was a little bit more color tying to the colors here. But nice to see Rosinante and Adult Law, the man he raised in some sense. Going into our character cards, first up we have the 1 cost 0 power 2k counter Vinsmoke Sora. If your leader is Sanji on play, then and the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, add up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it. Then draw a card. I'm not sure if this one makes the cut at too many, but at a very minimum, being a 2k counter that's potentially searchable depending on the specifics of your searcher package. This one just being a 2k that can potentially draw you a card, and if you fall too far behind in your Dawn, lets you catch back up. I think that's a pretty solid place to be. But I'll have to see if that one makes the cut too much. First SR for purple, we have a 4 cost 5,000 power 1k counter Vinsmoke Reiju. If you have 4 or more events in your trash, this character gains 2,000 power and +5 cost with a blocker. So this is just a really solid attacker. I know that this will see play in the Sanji deck just because you will have so many events that you're using, but I'm really interested to see if any other deck can generate enough events and trash to make this one work, because this is a very solid 4 cost 7,000 power blocker who is protected like it's a 9 cost. There's a lot to like about that card, so if there are any other decks that can make it work, I think it's pretty solid. Moving on to the alt art for it, Reiju's always got this look. She's always biting her finger, licking her lips or something like that. This just fits right in with the other ones. I do like that this one at least looks like a purple card. Some of the other Reiju cards, particularly the blue one from a couple sets ago, really clash with her coloring and the color of the card. But this one does pretty well at it. Moving on, we have Virgo, who's a vanilla Don Quixote Pirates, which I still think is probably a slightly underexplored archetype. This is just a vanilla, another card that can be played off of the 8 cost Doflamingo from a couple sets ago. Moving on, we have Emporio Ivankov, who's a 6 cost 7,000 power 1k counter. If you have 4 more events in your trash, this character gains blocker. So this time it's a 6 cost 7k power. And then on KO, add up to 1 event from your trash to your hand. Again, I really am interested if there's any other non-Sanji decks that can take advantage of this, because there is a lot of value in having big blockers and that generate card advantage here in this case, or efficiency in Dawn cost in the Rage Use effect. So I am really interested to see if there's another deck that can use this. Moving on, we have the 1-cost 1k, this one being Slash. Counter 1000. If you have 4 more events in your trash, this character gains blocker. I do like that these 1-cost 1ks can have 1k counter as long as they have some sort of restriction. I think this one is definitely doable in Sanji. I don't know if this card is playable in Sanji though. You need a really high number of events to make it work, and I just don't know that a 1-cost 1k and with 1k for a blocker is strong enough. Moving on, we have Carmen, just a generic vanilla with East Blue type in purple. This one I think is probably sealed only fodder, and we probably won't see it played elsewhere. Moving on, we have a 6-cost vanilla 2k in Gin, East Blue and Krieg Pirates. This is a couple cards in East Blue for purple, so there's a world where this is pointing in a direction, but I don't know if we'll or what it'll look like when we get there. Next up, we have Crocodile. He's a 6-cost, 8,000 power, no counter, with on your opponent's attack once per turn, Dawn -1. If your leader's type includes Baroque Works, up to one of your leaders or character cards gains 2,000 power during this battle, which is a really strong effect. This is particularly good in yellow-purple Crocodile, getting you a free 2k because this Dawn minus you immediately get back. Another thing that is really important about this one is leader type including Baroque Works. As of rotation, there will be 0 leaders who meet that criteria in any color, let alone in purple. So this is one of the other reasons why I really think that OP14 is definitely going to have 7 Warlord support, and I think the Crocodile is going to be one of the ones that get it. I'd like to see another Crocodile leader that can support all of these Baroque Works types cards in purple. I don't know if I'd rather it be in blue or in yellow or maybe in some other color, but I'm always interested. Crocodile is one of my favorite villains, and I've played a lot of his leaders to some fun effects, so I am interested to see where this one goes. This one works really well with yellow-purple Crocodile, but we'll see if they print a new one that can also work with this ability. Moving on to the next one, we have this Sanji. This is going to be super important for the deck. This is one of the few ways I've seen people using to win games with Sanji. It is a 3-cost, 5,000 power, so vanilla stat line, no counter. And this character gains 1,000 power for every 5 events in your trash. And this is part of the reason why Sanji needs so many events to make it functional, because it allows you to essentially run no other characters almost, and really protect this guy. And then he has his built-in protection with, if this character will be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, you may return 1 Dawn from your field to your Dawn deck instead. This is not a once per turn, so you can just keep using this. It also happens to be an Alabasta card, because we have Mr. Prince here, so I'd be interested to see if we get anything with purple Alabasta to kind of go with this. I think this one is going to be a fun card to play around, and a kind of interesting thing too, because most decks don't work around the idea of only having 1 or 2 cards in your deck that you kind of focus on. So it'll be an interesting way to play the game, I think. He also gets an alt art, which is pretty good. Mr. Prince being kind of Mr. Clutch, as he's also been called. This will be a great one, and I like that the number of alt arts that go in the Sanji deck is pretty low, so it should make these pretty reasonable on an alted out Sanji deck. Next up, we have Charlotte Pudding, who's a 1-cost 2,000 power 1k counter with on play. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Sanji or event card, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Great for the Sanji deck, finding your Sanji, finding your events. I'd also be interested to see if this one can see play elsewhere. Again, with the if we find another event focused card, I don't know if blue purple crocodile has enough to make it work, but there's definitely some architect kind of filing in where if we can find another leader who cares sufficiently about events, it could be a really interesting one to see. Moving on to the next guy, we have Zeph, who's a 4-cost 5,000 power 1k counter. And when a Dawn card on your field is returned to your Dawn deck, if your leader is Sanji, this character gains Rush. So he effectively is a 4-cost 5,000 Rush. Just because Sanji, you will almost always be using that leader ability. So pretty reasonable stat line. Not necessarily anything to write home about, but I could see it being important, particularly in a sealed situation, because if you're playing with Rainbow Luffy, your leader is still Sanji. You just need to find a way to return a Dawn to your Dawn deck. Moving on, we have Trafalgar Law. This one's definitely for the Rosinante. He's a 7-cost 8,000 power. He also has Slash, can be notable. No counter. On play, if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, add up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Then all of your Rosinante and Heart Pirate set characters gain 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. So in the Rosinante leader, this can come out for only 5 Dawn on your 6 Dawn turn, because you need to do the Dawn minus first. But coming out a little bit early to then give you a 6k leader. All of your Heart Pirates will get an extra 1, which will be all of your Laws. And then refund your Dawn that you use from the Rosinante. So probably a very good card in that Rosinante deck. But we'll also see if it has a chance to see play anywhere else. This one, because it's an SR, it's got an alt art, is a very good one. If you notice here, Law is about to get ganked by Dofi, and then in the alt art, Law is doing the ganking. So a fun little difference between the alt art and the other one. Next up, we have a 3-cost 2,000 power / character 2,000 counter. On play, you may trash an event from your hand. If your leader is Sanji, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So this is a little bit of a rant to maybe catch you up in a late game situation. Otherwise, he's just a fine 2k counter. And trashing events will power up your Sanjis. So pretty reasonable for a 2k. Moving on, we have Miss All Sunday, who's a 4-cost 5,000 power 1k counter. On play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Then your opponent may add 1 Dawn card from their Dawn deck and set it as active. Then trigger Dawn -1, play this card. So this one is a very interesting ability. This is the first time we've seen where you ramp your opponent's Dawn. We've seen unramping your opponent. And I fully expect this one to be seeding for OP14, where we're going to see probably a Crocodile leader. And I suspect it will be something to do with when you have less Dawn than your opponent, which would fit with the Crocodile we've seen earlier. This KOing a 3-cost or less is probably something that's not going to be too strong, but I do wonder if we might see something like a purple-black Crocodile. That could be interesting, where you can combo into this 3-cost or less, because it's not a base cost, and I think that there could be something there. But I am definitely going to watch this card, because I think that they're setting up for a future Crocodile leader. Moving on, we have Monet. She is a 5-cost vanilla 2k. Great as another card you can play off the 8-cost Doflamingo, because we have the Doflamingo type. But yeah, not too much else to say. Next up, then we have the 2-cost event, the Extinguishes All Sound Created by Your Influence technique, where Law is channeling his inner Corazon. And this is a main event. Select up to one of your Trafalgar Law cards, and that card gains 2,000 power during this turn. Then if selected character attacks during this turn, your opponent cannot activate blocker. So this is exceptionally close to Perfume Femur. It's worded very similarly. But it also has a trigger of draw one card, which is a great thing to have. I think this will be the way that a lot of Resonante games end, is having maybe your 7-cost Law or something like that, buffing it up to 11 and getting your opponent with an unblockable attack. Moving on, we have Brochette Blow, which is another 3-cost event, this time for Sanji. This is a main event. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or lesser than the number of your opponent's field, draw 1 card, then give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 during this turn. This is going to be the kind of card that, because the Sanji deck does not look like it is a very board-focused deck, is going to be a way for you to clear board with just your leader by kind of reducing your opponent's guys and making them unable to effectively attack. Also, as a Dawn -1 effect off of your leader, you can put the rest of your investment into your leader and really remove stuff with leader swings in this deck. And getting more cards into the trash will power up your Sanji in the late game. Moving on, we have Luffy is the man who will be the King of the Pirates. You'll notice this is exactly the same name as the Zoro event that restood Zoro, which is, of course, going to be confusing, but luckily they're very obviously different colors. That helps. This one is a 1-cost main. If your leader is Sanji, look at the top 3 from your deck and add 1 to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. It's important here that it doesn't say you have to reveal it. So you get any card from the top 3, and you get to put it in your hand, and your opponents do not get to know what it is. This is exactly the card that you really want to play a ton of in the deck. It's a mandatory 4 of, I think, of in the Sanji deck, just because you can get your consistency to get your Sanjis in play, get stuff into the trash to power up the Sanjis, and then otherwise very cheaply fix your hand going forward. Next up we have the Baratier, which is a 1-cost stage with Activate main. You may place this stage at the bottom of the owner's deck. If your leader is Sanji, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 event and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And with a trigger, play this card. This effectively works like a second searcher. This one's a lot less good, just because it doesn't do anything on its own. It goes to the bottom of the deck instead of to your trash, where you would be able to use it for other things. I do think that there's maybe a spot where you can play a couple of these, but it is definitely on the lower end of playability here, just because you don't get any extra value out of it. But an interesting card. It's just ways of increasing the consistency with the Sanji deck. Moving on to our next color, we have black, and our first leader here, we have Koala. She's a 5,000 power 4-life leader with black and yellow. When this leader attacks your opponent's leader, if you have 2 or more characters at a cost of 8 or more, draw 1 card. Important for this is you have to be leader on leader swings. You can't use this that ability when you're swinging into characters. So I think that this one probably wants to be kind of aggressive, just because you want to be able to get that card draw. Then her other effect is once per turn. This effect can be activated when your opponent plays a character with a base cost of 8 or more, or when your opponent plays a character using a character's effect. Your opponent adds 1 card from the top of their life cards to their hand. So this works very well against stuff like Blue-Purple Luffy. Being a 4-life leader, though, without necessarily a very effective leader ability also makes you pretty weak to stuff like Green Zoro, though. So this is kind of a mixed bag. I think in the correct meta, these abilities are very strong, but in the incorrect meta, you're going to die to the aggressive decks. This one was also on my short list of decks that I wanted to play. This set, if you haven't been able to figure out, has a whole lot of decks that I'm really interested in playing, and it's going to be hard for me to split my time well enough to get to try them all. But we'll see how it goes. For this one, we had a really interesting situation. This is actually in the Rayleigh style, where you have the mentor and the trainee in the background. And in this case, we have Robin, which is great, and this is almost why I locked this one in. Sanji just tempted me in with the playstyle. But I make no... there's no doubt that I will definitely be playing this leader at least once or twice in OP12. I promise you that. And I will definitely be acquiring this alt-art leader to go with it. But yeah, great card. Moving on to our characters, we first up have an 8-cost vanilla Isho. Dressrosa Navy. Probably one of those things that's way better in sealed than it is anywhere else. Moving on to the next one, we have a 5-cost vanilla 2K for Revolutionary Army. Important with Koala. She has a lot of abilities that are requiring your characters to be 8-cost. 5 is 3 away from the 8, which is something that I expect we'll be able to see some cost increases that go with this guy. So you can look at him just mainly as a searchable 2K in the Koala deck, but I do think that we can expect to see some support that allows him to be 8-cost from time to time. Next up, we have Emporio Ivankov. He's a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1K counter blocker with on play if your leader has revolutionary type, trash 3 cards from the top of your deck. This can be important for the Sabo abilities, the red-black one that's coming up, I believe, is one where you can put cards in your trash back into your deck to protect things. So this one fits nicely with that. And then just being a pretty standard 3-cost 4K blocker is a pretty standard place to be. Next up, we have Karasu. He's a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter. If your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, this character gains +3 cost, making him very hard to interact with, and also turning on Koala's leader ability. And then when attacking, if your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, and your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent trashes one. This is a very solid ability, especially because he's hard to get off the board, being an 8-cost. At 5, it's hard to interact with that early. And as long as your opponent isn't getting too many cards out of their hand, you're probably going to be able to get at least 2 cards out of their hand with this. At least one out of his attack, and then one with his when attacking ability. Next, we have the 1-cost 2K 1K counter Koala. If your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, look at the top 3 cards from your deck and reveal up to 1 Revolutionary Army type card other than Koala, or up to 1 Nico Robin, and add it to your hand. Then trash the rest. So this one fits the Black Searcher mold, looking at top 3 and then trashing cards. Being able to find a Nico Robin is real fun because you can find the 6-cost Robin from OP09 to get some good life burn stuff, or you can find any of your other Revolutionary Army type stuff. So I expect this one to see plenty of play in the Koala deck. Also has a fun alt art. Koala's one of the more generic characters, so it's hard for me to get too excited about most of her alt arts, but it's still a good art. Next up, we have an SR Robin. She's a 6-cost, 7,000 power, no counter. With if your leader is Koala or Monkey D. Luffy, this character gains blocker and +3 cost. And then on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent trashes 2 cards from their hand. This is good attacking their hand. Synergizes with the leader ability. Also, one of the important things, this turns on the Koala leader ability, but it also turns on the SD14 leader ability. I am interested in playing this one in SD14 Luffy with the Tijuana Wolf Nico Robin as well, to get some really cheap cost minus by having this one on the field instead of something else. And then a 7k blocker is really solid. So I think there's a lot to like about this Robin card. She also has a pretty good alt art here. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much more to say on this. I'm looking forward to playing with that card in both SD14 and potentially in Koala. Moving on, we have another vanilla here. It's a 6-cost vanilla here, Bastille, Dressrosa and Navy types, 1k counter. After that, we have the 4-cost 5,000 power hack with 1k counter. If your leader has a Revolutionary Army type, this character gains blocker and plus 4 cost. So another card that turns on the Koala leader ability. And then on KO, if your leader has a Revolutionary Army type, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 4 or less. This is a really good ability to have as a blocker, because you get to snipe one of their guys. It is something that can be pretty reasonably played around, because your opponent can swing with their lower cost guys first, but not every deck is going to be able to get around that. So a pretty interesting and solid card at just turning on Koala's leader ability anyways. So moving on to the next one, we have Bello Betty. She's a 3-cost 4,000 power, 2k counter. When attacking, you may trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2 cost during this turn. So this will be just one of your main ways of interacting with cost. I don't know, because it's when attacking, I don't know if this will be played super often, but always being a 2k counter that's going to be searchable is going to be solid in those decks no matter what. Next up, we have a 3-cost 4,000 power 1k counter Porker. This guy is a Smile character. I've always been watching these Smile characters. I don't know if we'll ever get there for a deck, but definitely one that I will refresh my interest in this. I think maybe King, Black Purple King might be the right leader for this, but we'll see. But his ability is activate main once per turn. You may paste 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. Up to 2 of your Smile characters gain 2,000 power during this turn. So a good way of getting your Smile characters to get aggressive. I don't know if it is strong enough, but you have a lot of weak characters in the Smile archetype. Giving 2 of them Smile at effectively no cost, because this can be relatively easily mitigated, is something to watch. Moving on to the next one, we have another Smile character. This is a 2-cost vanilla at 6 cost. We have Mazurka. After that, we have Morley. He's a 4-cost 5,000 power 2k counter. If your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, this character gains plus 4 cost. So really good at turning on your leader ability if you don't have another way of doing so. At the cost of playing out the 2k, but you probably get to draw a card with Koala afterwards. Next up, we have Dragon, who's an SR, 8-cost 8,000 power. On play, you may paste 3 Revolutionary Army type cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. If your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, you may play 1 character card with a cost of 6 or less from your trash. So this is kind of a what's it called? A Sengoku or a Moria style effect, where you pay the cost of putting stuff from your trash back into your deck to get out a 6 cost. So I fully expect this one to be very common in Koala. Also hits the 8 cost, which means you'll get the draw off of your leader ability quite effectively. Moving on to the alt art for that one, I do like this alt art quite a bit, and I'll probably try to pick up 1 or 2 for Koala when I try to play it. Next up, we have 4-cost 5,000 power 1k counter Limburg. If your leader has a Revolutionary Army type, this character gains plus 4 cost, so turns on Koala's leader ability. And then on play, draw a card and trash a card from your hand. Important is particularly to work with Dragon as a way to set up the card that you want to play off of Dragon on a future turn. Next up, we have Ursus Shock, a 4-cost event with main KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. If you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, you may select your opponent's character with a cost of 6 or less instead. So probably going to be seeing play in at least some number in Koala, just as a pretty strong KO event. can combo either with just having 8 costs, or you can combo some cost minus in to make this pretty effective, I think. And then it has a trigger of draw 1 card and trash 1 card from the top of your deck, which is a pretty solid ability. Next up, we have Captain's Assemble, which is a 1 cost event searcher in the vein of This Is My Era. So it's got main, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Revolutionary Army type other than Captain's Assembled, and add it to your hand, then trash the rest. And then it's got a trigger of activate this card's main effect. Solid card. Next up, we have Hair Removal Fist. It is a 1 cost counter event. Up to 1 of your leader or characters gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. Then if you have a Revolutionary Army type character with a cost of 8 or more, that card gains an additional 2,000 power during this battle. So it's a 4K counter if you already have an expensive Revolutionary Army type guy on the field, which should be pretty common in Koala. Also has a trigger of draw 1 card, then trash 1 card from the top of your deck. Next, after that, we're getting into yellow. So no dedicated yellow leaders this time around. We had both Rosinante and Koala as our yellow representatives. But let's hop into the characters. Starting off, we have the 5 cost 6,000 power Caligara, who's got 1k counter, and your turn, when a card is removed from your or your opponent's life cards, draw 1 card. Then you cannot draw cards using your own effects during this turn. So I'll need to double check on the ruling for this one to see if this turns off your ability to use Caligara's leader ability, but it is a solid ability that goes with when you use your leader ability. You will get this draw, but we'll see if you can still use your leader ability afterwards. So definitely an interesting one. Also, this is a Caligara card, which is really important for synergizing with the Nolan ability, which required you have a Caligara card, which not being your leader, with this now being our second version of Caligara. Moving on to the next one, we have Savo. He's a 5 cost 6,000 power 1k counter. If you have 3 or less life cards, this character gains blocker and +3 cost. So 3 or less, you get to have your leader ability be active, and this card would be interacted with, and it's a blocker. And then on play, you may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand, draw 2 cards, and trash 1 card from your hand. So this, in the Koala leader, pretty much automatically turns on your this part of it. So he's pretty much always a blocker in Koala. And then optionally, you can use take a card from the top of your life to your hand to draw and trash. So this is definitely an interesting one. I wonder if this one will see play in Bello Betty as an alternative to the Koala blocker, because it's harder to interact with. You get to take the life to draw 2 cards, so that's a +3, and then -1. There's a lot to like about that card. Next up, we have Jewelry Bonnie. She's a 3 cost 1k power, 1k counter. Activate main, and you rest this character. Your Supernova's type leader gains 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So I need to double check. All right, so I just double checked. The 8 cost or the Eustace Kid yellow leader only requires characters with a 3 or 8 to set as active. So the way you can use this in Kid is you can rest it to give your leader go up to 6, and then use the leader ability to untap this and make it a blocker, which is a very solid play pattern. Also in Green Yellow Law, you could play this out, rest it to give your leader +1, make your 6k leader for the turn, and then use your leader ability there to pick it back up and play out something from the top of your life. And then it also has a trigger. If your leader has the Supernova type, play this card, which means it's going to be great in either of the two things. I think this one card is probably better in Yellow Kid than it is in Green Yellow Law. Moving on to the next one, we have Shirahoshi. She's an SR, 2 cost, 0 power, 1k counter. If your character with a base cost of 6 or less would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may turn one card from the top of your life card face up instead. On your opponent's turn, if you have no other Shirahoshis with a base cost of 2, all of your Neptunian type characters gain 2,000 power, which is very strong at defending Neptunians in the Shirahoshi leader, but also has reasonable effect at protecting other characters, because you can turn that top card face up, and it doesn't say once per turn. So if you take a hit after that, there's kind of a lot of ways you can use this, and this turning a card face up is really not much of a cost outside of the Shirahoshi leader, where you have a lot of cards that can turn it back down. So I think this one is pretty strong in the Shirahoshi leader specifically, but I do think that there's potential for use cases elsewhere too. So I'm going to be watching this one. We also have an alt art for this one. This one's cute. We got Megalo in the front and just a good art for Shirahoshi. Moving on though, next we have Seto, who's a 5 cost 6k vanilla 2k for Sky Island. Another searchable 2k for that archetype is going to be good, and also a pretty decent card to play off of Kagura's ability. After that, we have the 4 cost 5,000 power slash Sentomaru. He's got 1,000 counter and no other abilities, but he does have a trigger. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less as a trigger. He's Egghead Navy, so this is the kind of thing that you could stack in life with Vegapunk. Or in the next set we have Bonnie, who likes playing cards with trigger, so I could see that being useful there. Moving on to the next one, we have Trafalgar Lammie. This is Law's sister, who unfortunately passed away. She's a 1 cost 0 attack, counter 2,000. Your turn, on play, up to one of your Trafalgar Law characters gains 2,000 power during this turn. So this is a good way of Voltroning through a Law, especially compared with that purple event that gives it the ability to bypass blockers. And then just being a 2k other than that. So a pretty reasonable card to be playing in Resonante. Next up we have a Trafalgar Law. He's 6 cost 7,000 power slash with 1k counter and blocker. Just a solid card, especially if you're playing it off the Resonante ability for a discount. In that situation, he is a 4 cost 7,000 blocker, which is really strong. He's also a supernova, which is worth keeping an eye on, because it means he can be restood with the Yellow Kid for a pretty effective attacker that still can block. Next up, we have an 8 cost 8,000 power Don Quixote del Flamingo. If you have 2 or less life cards, this character gains Rush. Then on your opponent's turn and on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your life to the top of your from the top of your deck to the top of your life. So you heal 1. Another one of the 7 Warlords. I really am looking forward to seeing what they do in OP14 with Warlords, because there's a lot of fun cards for it. He has no counter, so he's not a free add in decks that want to have 2 or less life, but this is a very solid effect, letting you heal into the late game with a very aggressive statted body. This is one that I might try in Robin, because it's pretty frequently that you have 2 or less life, and if your opponent does feel the need to trade into it, you do get to just heal, which is great. Moving on to the next one, we have Don Quixote Resonante, a 1 cost 2,000 power, 1k counter. This is a searcher. Look at the top 5 from your deck, reveal up to 1 Trafalgar Law and add it to your hand, then place the rest of your deck in any order. So this one lets you go find any of your laws that you might need. Great card for the Resonante deck in particular. Also, I really do like this alt art quite a bit. It's definitely got a lot of emotion to it. I do like the kind of really rough edges to it. Moving on, though, we have Pacifista here. 4-cost 5,000 power, 1k counter. Just trigger on this one. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less and add this card to your hand. So a trigger that you might get some effect of, and you still get to put it in your hand, which is pretty good. Moving on to the next one, we have Buffalo. He's a 3-cost 5k vanilla for the Tofi Pirates. After that, we have Baby 5, another vanilla here. This one just being a 2-cost vanilla. Another Don Quixote Pirates card. This and these last 3 cards plus the Dofi, I would not be surprised to see a yellow Doflamingo leader in the future. There's a lot of cards that might work with it, especially if they can pair it with purple maybe to fit with the archetype from a couple sets ago. This one, though, Baby 5, is a 4-cost 5,000 power 2k counter with a trigger of if your leader is multicolored, draw 2 cards. This one is probably going to just be a straight replacement for Frankie in my Robin deck. This leader ability, this one is very strong. The Frankie only activating at the end of the game can be kind of hard to play around, but this will always draw you 2 cards, which is great. Next up, we have a 5-cost 6,000 power slash 1k counter Roronoa Zoro with Supernovas and Straw Hat Crew. And then on KO, if your leader has a Supernovas type, play up to 1 Supernovas type character with a cost of 4 or less from your hand rested. I can see this being played in either of the 2 yellow Supernovas we have at this point. Both Green Yellow Law and Yellow Kid would both benefit from being able to have a guy that kind of sticks to the board pretty well. He also happens to have a trigger of KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less, and then add this card to your hand. So similar to that Pacifista, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see this as a card that sees play in the Bonnie deck, maybe, if she's a Supernova. I need to double check. And the Bonnie that I am referring to is the one from OP13, who's mono yellow that we've seen. But moving on, next up we have Wiper. He is a vanilla 2k at 6 cost, which is pretty good for that Kalgara leader. You get to play out bigger bodies with your leader ability and still maintain your 2k count. Moving on, we have our first yellow event, I Love You, which is Rosinante saying goodbye to Law at the very end. It's a 1-cost event with counter. Up to one of your leader or characters gains 2,000 power during the turn. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, add up to 1 Trafalgar Law from your trash to your hand. This is really nice because it is card neutral. Only being a 2,000 counter isn't all that great, but it being card neutral is really strong, and I think that people will underestimate how good that can be, especially because there are a couple Trafalgar Laws who are also 2k counters, which makes this effectively a 4k event, which is quite solid. Moving on, we have Will Ring the Bell waiting for you. This is where Kalgara is shouting out to Nolan saying, "We won't forget you." This one is a 3-cost event with main. Look at the top 5 cards from your deck, reveal up to 2 Shandian Warrior type characters or Mont Blanc Noland and add them to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is a very strong card in Kalgara. Lets you find your Nolan, which is really important, or Shandian Warriors, which is exactly what you need. Your Kalgaras are all Shandian Warriors. This is going to be very strong in that deck, especially because I don't think they have a ton to do on 3 Dawn. Trigger of draw 1 card is just a nice backup at the end if you don't need the search event. Moving on, we have Slam Gibson, which is a Supernova Kid Pirates type event. 1 cost, you may rest 5 of your Dawn cards if your leader has the Supernovas type. So at this point it's green, yellow, and yellow kid. Add up to 1 character with a cost of 9 or less to the top or bottom of the owner's life cards face down. This can be really important in getting rid of some of those really pesky 9 costs. You can put them at the bottom of their life at a relatively cheap 6 cost, which is comparable to Red Rock and gets rid of almost everything that Red Rock does. It also gets around KO by putting it into their life. And there's also a very extreme edge case where you might put it in your own life, one of your own characters in your life as a way of healing. And then to top it all off, it also has the leader gain 3000 power counter ability that we see on a lot of these other ones. I think this one will probably see play somewhere. I don't know in what numbers, but I can't imagine that this ability isn't flexible enough to see at least 1 or 2 of in one of those supernova decks. Moving on to our secrets, we first up have a green one, the 5 cost 6000 power Bonnie with 1k counter. She has blocker, and then on play, if you have 8 or more rested cards, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand, then set up to one of your Dawn as active. So this one I think is probably stronger in the Bonnie deck than it is in Green Yellow Law or some of the other ones. Mainly because getting the 8 or more rested cards is a little bit steep for Green Yellow when you want to be able to play this out. And then I think that there's going to be kind of a mismatch between this and some of the other cards. But I definitely think that this is a solid card to play potentially in some number. And also not type locked. Which can be important because there may be other green decks in the future who want this effect. Moving on to the next one, we have the alt art for it. Very colorful. Hard to even tell what's going on in this with so much colors, but pretty fun. And to top it all off, this is the Bonnie that gets the manga alt art. Definitely Bonnie, if you've been watching the anime recently, she's a standout character, and I'm really happy that she gets a manga at this point. Moving on to our other secret, we have Bartholomew Kuma, who's a 6 cost 7000 power with 1k counter, which is important. He is a yellow character, and then on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Then this character gains +2, which means it turns on Koala until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Also means it's hard for your opponent to deal with right away, so you'll get almost guaranteed that first 7 cost swing, which can be important. And then it also has on your opponent's turn on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. This is the same ability that the Doflamingo had, and it's also 7 Warlords. So I really think that the yellow 7 Warlords is likely to be coming. We have 2 Warlords with similar abilities. I would not be surprised in the slightest if in OP14 we see something that can synergize off of these. Also important with this one, this is not like type locked at all. So this is a very solid way for yellow decks to heal that we haven't seen in the past. So I'm interested to see exactly where this one shakes out, as I do think that this is a meaningfully useful effect. On KO is something that can definitely be played around, but not every deck can, and sometimes your opponents won't be able to get around it and have to swing into it just to get it off the board, in which case it's healing you, which is a great place to be. Moving on to the alt art for it. This is a great one. This looks like a blue card a little bit, but this is a really cool art. I really like it. Moving on to our SPs, we have the 1 cost Searcher Tashigi. This one's gonna be really important in Kuzan, so I'm glad to see that one pop up. Next we have Yasup. This is the one that buffs your leader, gives you an extra +1. Shanks hasn't seen as much success in the meta, but this is a pretty cool card since his deck didn't have this as an alt art, and they were playing some number of these, so that's pretty cool for them. The green one, we have Lem. This is the Searcher one. Lim also one that has kind of fallen out of favor in the meta, but fun for them to get some new alt arts to go with their deck. Next up, we have the Teach. This is one that got the same as the Luffy treatment, where you have these really elaborately colored cards, and I think it has two versions. Yeah, it's got a silver and a gold version, which are really cool. They're really shiny cards. For the black card, we have this Kuzan, which is the one that can't be removed from the field. This is one that has a really good alt art from OP10, but it is also really cool here. And this is a neat effect. Next up, we have the Rush Ace from the starter deck. This is definitely a very cool card. It competes with the black and white ones that come from the set originally. So it'll be interesting to see which one people opt for more so. And then purple, we have our Searcher Zordro. I think it was the treasure rare for one of the sets. So it'll be another question of which one do people prefer in their green, purple, and purple Luffy decks. And then finally we've wrapped around the back. So we're back to the beginning. Kind of wrapping up, I'll go back through the leaders that we have. We have first the Rosinante. This one again was close to being one of the ones I picked. I do like Law quite a bit, and this is a kind of an interesting effect where you're really incentivized to just play one guy the whole time. And I think that could have been an interesting deck to play. And then our other leader that we had Koala, who again another leader that I was very close to playing, especially because we got Robin in the alt art. But I think that Sanji kind of tempted me away from these. I am really interested in this set, and I'm looking forward to the next couple months with these cards legal. But thanks for hanging out with me while I go through all these cards, and I will see you guys in the next video and as we start to transition into the rest of the OP12 content. Until next time, though, bye.